Omo To Sure, you fine. Girl, I like to make you mine. And I no feel sleep, I no feel eat. Now you within my mind. Omo To Sure.
People, welcome to M underscore, a show that is for women by women. I'm Balinjawe, and my fellow co-hosts. Hi, everybody.
Hi everyone, I'm Yvonne Jacobs, your co-host for M underscore.
Hi, my name is Wendy Parkes, a co-host on M underscore.
Hi everybody, my name is Anelile Kibukego and I'm also a co-host for M underscore.
And welcome to our first episode.
Okay, Omnia Uzilu is going to join us later because she's experiencing some network problems. But our topic for today will be girl code, right?
Let's define it.
Yeah, exactly. And also, have you guys ever spoken as a group of friends and maybe said, okay guys, this is our girl code in Jalunjan? Because I don't recall us doing that.
My friends and I, we do that all the time because I have those who have a tendency, not really a tendency, but sometimes, breaking girl codes. Sometimes I don't know can by girl code, and then after the event, you broke a girl code. Then I'm gonna be like, oh, okay, girl, I didn't know, but it was part of. So yeah.
What are some of the things that go into your girl code box, for example?
Okay,
let's talk about that.
Okay, so I don't know. Is there Maranjani girl codes? Yo, guys, we suck at girl codes as Amando Mazana. Hey, okay, girl code is don't girl code, guys.
Okay, some of my sort of girl code things would be around men, which is usually a point of disagreements and arguments in female friendships. I remember in high school we had a whole thing about if I've dated him, kissed him, fancied him as a crush, then none of my girlfriends can date him. Right? So what are some what else goes under the girl code things?
And one of them can be if and Vani no iviwe, then the rest of the girls abavani no iviwe. That's also part of twice. That's also part of the girl code. But then in that sense, and you understand it because what if iviwe did you wrong and not me? The team. What if Nano iviwe?
Girl code. It Bluetooth hate by association.
I said begin work. Yeah. So if you got up on a goom when I break the girl code because sometimes it's can come your eyes and I is nizindo and then now, but okay, goodbye friendship wise.
What are some of your girl code things?
I've never called it girl code. I didn't even know that girl code existed. I just live by principles with my group of friends. And from us, one of the things is around never ever disrespect someone's identity when they aren't in the group, when they aren't present. Always defend them. So I think it links more towards gossiping. Where even if the person isn't around to defend themselves, either you as the friend must defend them irrespective of what is said or keep quiet.
Ooh,
and don't pile on.
As girls, we don't do that. Hey, we all join in by add and I just spice and be like, hey, yeah.
You will have to add. Yeah, and it's like, why add? Yeah, you have to defend their reputation even if they're not there. Especially when they're not there, defend them. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to come in on that because in my group of friends, some things that happen, let's say we are concerned about the life Bali is living, Wendy and I. And we're going to talk about her and strategize around how are we going to ensure Bali comes back in? Let's say she's, I don't know, she's in a, I don't know, she's gambling, or she's dating some person she shouldn't, or whatever. So it's also about intent in the thing, but also there's this thing that we must, if I can say it behind your back, then I can say it in front of you. You see, yeah. So even if, I mean, that does technically count as gossiping, you know.
That's I think there's a fine line, because what is the motive, and what is the end game? If I'm talking about you just to break you down, and because I want all of the friends to know that she is with this guy, he's a terrible person, she's so stupid, she should just leave him. Why isn't she leaving him? She's so stupid, she has no self-esteem, no self-respect. Versus, guys, our friend is in trouble. What are we going to do to help her? I think those are two different conversations. And then we go to you and we say, friend, we've all discussed this. We honestly feel like you are in a bad place. We honestly feel like, so I think if your end game is to embarrass someone and just tarnish their reputation amongst the friends, versus you really wanting to help them and go together as a collective, because that's happened to me, where people came to me as a collective and they've said, friend, we all have discussed this. Yes, you went around, but it's because we all feel so passionately about this. We all care about you so much. We honestly think this is not the right decision for you, right? And I think that comes with a level of maturity within the friendship as well. Are we just friends because we all want to look good together, or are we friends because there's a level of emotional maturity and intellectual maturity that we all have? So I think there's a difference.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We've never really had one as a group of friends, ne? I don't recall a time where we actually sat down and said, okay, A, B, and C is not allowed. Yeah, well, so I don't have much to say about with regards to that. Yeah.
Sana senzima ke ngoku, because like let's say I am a girl code, guys, but it was back in high school, and I didn't know I was breaking girl. There was a situation where a friend of mine, guys, okay, I don't know what that should be. Okay. So
the safe space.
So a friend of mine who, like, we're still best friends and stuff. Like, okay, sure. She dated this guy for like, okay, they were not really dating, but like she had a thing with this guy, high school things were too, for like a week, and and then guy, it was just like, oh, okay, whatever, we did what we did, and then a year later, this guy comes to me, approached me, like, okay, we like each other, and, Zilu, hi girl.
Okay, my name is Zilu Tumacholo. I'm the host, one of the hosts for M_. Yeah, that's basically all I can say right now.
Okay, so what is your intake regarding girl code?
Girl code is the unsaid hidden rules that we should abide to, But sometimes, we push it a bit and we introduce fake rules that we really should start discussing right now. But I think it's just being legit and being there for your girls. Like, how guys say what they say? Bros over hoes. It's basically the same concept, but we really don't apply it as harshly, and I'm starting to think that we should.
Okay, that's interesting. And we tend to break it sometimes, hey. But man, sometimes it's not really that clear, man. Yeah. Sometimes, and we really do push it. I mean, okay, here's the boundaries that we cannot cross.
There's so many boundaries. Like, I feel like this is what I hate about girl code. The first thing I should really be honest about. It's the whole ex playground. The whole playground about you can't date my exes, blah, 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 blah. I don't know how far that goes, but I do think that we don't give each other the same or the amount of loyalty men give each other in their friendships. I don't know if I'm making sense, because half the time women tend to want to compete with one another, and we should really be protecting and supporting one another. We are very quick to fetch one another. If, for instance, I'm dating someone, then Bali suddenly finds interest, blah blah blah. I'm gonna fetch Mbali for some odd reason. Not me, but most women would fetch Mbali instead of fetching your man. So girl code should really be fetching your man instead of Mbali. If you know, if I'm making sense, I don't know. So in my opinion, that's one. Girl code number one should be don't come for the other woman.
Yeah, but I mean, and my story regarding late girl code daybreak is similar to what Uzilu said. Okay, long story short, me and this guy dated, né? And you know, my relationship here too continued for like a month or two. But then relationship, low guy and my friend wasn't really a relationship. So this girl fetched me and friendship here too, pela for like that couple of months. And I was so confused by Njani, like, but you guys never really had a thing. Okay, but they never really had a thing with Uzban. So Nanalo guy had like, and that's another thing is that Nyani, why is Landana instead of checking the guy out, but a way to guy like at least have some respect of Unam, or you had a thing with I don't know, man.
I don't know about. Okay.
In my opinion, in a situation like that, I would disclose it with my friend. You know what I mean? Even if my friend doesn't have a really serious relationship with this person, but the fact that she has something with that person, it's a conversation I should run by her, and that's where girl code would come in. I'm speaking from a point of don't fetch a complete stranger. You know what I mean? But if it is your friend, you would expect more from a friend to at least say, hey, this guy is really interested in me. I'm interested in him, XYZ. So tell me how far your relationship with him goes and stuff like that. And if it's cool with you, but yeah, girl code would be, if it's your friend, I think you should run it by them. Okay. I think, yeah.
But I also feel like sometimes it's really not that deep, Yazi. It's a different case if when you were dating that guy, and then if you just had a thing with the guy. I don't know if I'm making sense. Like in time it was a crush or a fling.
Yeah.
But if your friend was with the guy for like 2 years, 7 years, then it's a different scenario.
But it's kind of irrelevant, Kenyan.
Yeah. I agree with that, because there are relationships that they linger, and so totally there's some unresolved things, right? Especially with the 1 year, 2 year plus relationships. Even if it's something as small as 2 months, we can't use time as the only measure of seriousness. It's not necessarily time that determines the seriousness of the relationship. So, like, sometimes it's really a month relationship but they shared so much stuff. Like there's times where people share debts and they share, I don't know, like, they were into so this relationship means more, like it weighs more on your friend than just, so sometimes that you must also consider that before you pursue an ex, or you allow that person's ex to pursue you, or to pursue a relationship with this new person if they've got an intricate, complicated relationship with a close friend, or even an acquaintance. Okay, I don't know about acquaintance. If it's girl code, it must be a friend, ne? Yeah.
I feel like
so.
Okay.
If it's an acquaintance, we can loosen the rules. But then, and I want to pose this question to each one of you: what are your girl code rules around friendship and supporting your hustle and your business? Because I personally do not compromise on supporting my girls or my guys, right? And I expect a certain degree of support. That is a definite deal breaker for me in friendships and in close acquaintances. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Lele, to answer your question, I
I am currently going through this whole girl code thing with a close friend of mine, ne? Like on Linda Bayale, Hustle, and Yonkelan. You know, as friends, ne? I always tell my friends this, ne? As a friend, support me, never understand. If even if you don't see my vision, you support it. At least the least that you can do is like post my hustle or my cat or something like that. And also, if you got window way, sometimes as friends, ne, they feel some type of way when they're not included to your hustle or whatever. Like as a girl code, like you don't have to be we hustle yam boko. Like and you don't have to we might have the same vision, ne? But lendlela mnandi yenza ngayo na lendlela wena wenza ngayo, it doesn't have to be the same. Like and also we yo guys, the thing is Lento, I'm currently going through it now, and I'm that type of person where I'm just like, if are we money and if you're not in support with it, shala apo, and then we ask about okay, when it comes to my hustle, I'm getting down. You don't even have a say.
And won't even say anything to that person. You'll just keep doing your own thing and not update them.
Because she came at me, ne, about why and I think I'm includanga and all of that. But before I even started all of this, before M underscore was even a thing, I told her, I was like, man, I cannot be preaching about women unity and girl code, as I said, and Yonkelando, and I don't actually do it. Yeah, so I had my own fight, and I even told Annelila was also the first people to know about this. I called Annelila and I was like, Annelila, this is what I have. And I was like, okay, sure. I called the friend. I was like, this is what I have. And she was like, no, darling, I don't want to be part of your hustle. I'm doing my own thing. That is sharp, ne? Because Anditimo's umuntu bizindo yake. That is sharp. And I moved on and I got you girls as Nina. Now this girl is coming at me like Nandiam fake, Nandiam teeny, and which I do not understand because we might be in the same thing, but what she's doing and what I'm doing is the total opposite. So Linda Mayela Go Code and Hustle, I feel like as a friend, just support and about understanding. And also as a friend, don't expect Uzoba included Gundo Yonke, because as much as we're doing our hustle, as much as we want to grow, somewhere now what you have eyes on Kulisa now, what I have eyes on Kulisa wena, what Anele has is on Kulisa. So I'm gonna go to another female and be like Anelile, you have what I need and I have what you need. Let's link up and let's work together, let's grow. If when on my way of growing, you see that I have something that you need, hit me up and be like, Tony, the platform yako, and also as girls, we tend to be very jealous of each other. And we bonakalisa ngendlela emdaka just by attacking me ngento wena ungayi understand you. So when it comes to hustle, we need to really look at it, because when you're hustling, and hustle yako also shows who really is for you and who's really not for you.
For you.
So it's really tricky, because I'm also going through it, and the type of person that I am now, if like I am about aligning with brands and whatever, if now you're giving me bad energy, don't even come.
And also, I also feel like yes, when it comes to our friends, we don't need them to buy whatever we're selling. We just need you to repost or to share in those to car. And at times you see how quickly you see how easy they are to share in those about, but when it comes to your own thing, to stuff that you're doing, and you're like, okay, get friend. So
oh, do you have can I please ask Annelile, you asked a very interesting question in your whole phrasing. You said, does girl code only apply to friends, or does it extend even further than the friendship circle? And I've been pondering on that, and I don't know if I don't know how you guys will see this. If I've just come to know all of you ladies, right? So for all intents and purposes, we currently aren't friends. We are acquaintances. I have heard of you. I've been on your social media platforms. I've seen what you're doing. As a woman, For me, girl code starts at the point of I respect you as a woman. Whatever you are doing, I will support you as a woman. And then if you're going even broader, if I meet a guy, I don't know this guy has a girlfriend. Then this other woman approaches, this other woman is now in the picture. Yes, she's not my friend, but do I not also owe her the same level of respect that girl code calls for? Why are we only sticking to friends? I may not know you, Zulu. I may not know you, but the fact that you're a woman, you are hustling, you're doing a thing. Do I not owe you a level of respect that I should be giving to friends, to family? You know what I mean? Yeah. So is girl code only restricted to friends, or can it be extended to women as a whole? Because even men have that. A man will respect another man because he's a man. Why not as women? Can we also just respect each other just on the grounds that as a woman?
We're women, yeah. I get that. I'm for that because I believe, for instance, if I saw that Annalita was busy, she wanted people to vote for the award. And I'm like, you know what? I know her now.
Yes.
And I think I owe her that because I've met her. We've spoken. We're sharing a platform together. Why shouldn't I? She's a black woman killing it. Why shouldn't we suddenly support her in everything she's doing? I mean, I checked out your profile and you were posting about a seminar or something you're going to be doing on speaking on something. And I was like, you know, let's actually like this stuff. Let's view the profiles. Let's go out of our way to follow the pages you suggest we could follow. And because now I've met, and even if you weren't a woman I know, if it's something I relate to, it's a woman that's suddenly been given a platform that's usually given to men, I think that's enough. Let's say, let's give it to her. Let's support her in everything she's doing. And as for what Mbali was saying, personally, I think I am very familiar with the situation. I feel like in situations like this, sometimes we expect so much from our friends, and we forget that people don't owe us anything.
Yes.
And as much as you can give everything else to everyone else, they don't owe you anything. And 100%. I mean, I've upset so many people in my life, so many people, and I don't even know what I've done. But sometimes I want to put in the woman, but we're supposed to be sticking up for each other. Sometimes it really doesn't, like, people don't care, and it doesn't really matter. And you have to move on with your life and do you. And the women that want to support what you're doing are going to gravitate towards you. Sometimes you've been pushed a certain direction to get the things that you need, and you have to let go of certain people that are holding you back. And maybe that's what you should take out of it. There are women that you're supposed to meet, women that you're supposed to share a platform with, that you're being pushed to. And maybe you really want to work with your friend, but sometimes it doesn't work out, and that's for a reason. And we're not all going to work together just because we're women, and we're not all going to relate to one another because we're women. We're human too.
But also, it's a difference in that friend is your best friend. Like, it's a difference because you expect so much from your best friend. Like,
but then also is that reciprocated? Because if you're expecting that from your best friend, does she expect that from you, and have her expectations been met on your part? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
I want to talk on reciprocation. I think that's a very important point raised by Wendy over there. Reciprocation is so important in any girl code, this term, in any girl code, in any friendship, because there's this thing that, okay, so Minaike as an author, publisher, etc., there's a certain gravitas that I come with, right? And that mentality is wrong, because even if your friend is doing her level best at church, she's doing her level best in her relationship, she's doing her level best in academia, in marriage, in things that are not as, I don't know, businessy or formal or corporate-y, you know. But even there, you know, some okay, we must always allow agency amongst ourselves as friends, right? So when a friend says, I am a housewife, and I'm using this because it's perceived as like extremes, because of it, we will get there. But let's say your best friend wants to be a housewife. She wants to have 5 kids. That is, she wants to take care of her family and her husband and her house. Do you come through for her, or are you always just pulling her to be like, that friend, you could be so much more? But you must allow agency and reciprocate that support. Be like, oh, okay, then Dani, you want to be a housewife? Nanti setele crusade. I saw this sale. I think you might be interested in baby showers, all of those things, because those are also very important. And those things are also sort of seeds of friendship. So those milestones, sort of, you can tell who's your friend and who isn't. Just like starting a new business is a seed. You can tell that this person is not reposting me, they're reposting someone else. This person does not believe in my vision. This person does believe in my vision. I mean, I've got friends now who it's as if it's them, that are a nominee. Like, I had a conversation with my friend this morning. She's a doctor and a humanitarian, and that's where she wants to be. And she was just like, yeah, so this award is no longer about you, okay? It's about us. We want to win it, right? Because I'm just like, I'm just happy I'm nominated, whatever. It's just like, yeah, it's not even about you anymore. It's about the vision that we also want for you, And then you start thinking, have I been doing this for this friend? Have I been supporting? And I think that should be an integral and like core part of any girl code, reciprocation, regardless of levels, regardless of I don't think you should have to unpack and write a whole essay on why you want to be a housewife. You've said you want to be a housewife. I must support you. I think that's important.
Yeah. And then it tricky because with us ladies, or in general, sometimes yawazungena erumini and this can changing attend for what good reason. We don't know. So I feel like if we girl code as a there's still a lot of work that we have to do, because as much as like we expect kakhulu man, and yes, I don't know, but the element that still needs because
I don't know. I think it's also very weird that we expect each other to like each other just because we're women. I'm not saying this from a point of view of like don't support one another. I can support you, but I don't necessarily have to like you. You don't have to be my favorite person. If what you're selling aligns with what I want, or it's something I would really want, I will support it. If you're performing at an event or something, and I'm really going there to see someone else, but you're there, I'm not going to sit there and boo you. That's something else. But I don't think we have to like each other just because we're women. Men don't like each other just because they're men. You can talk to men, they'll tell you, I don't like that guy. They won't explain why, they just don't like the person, you know what I mean? You don't have to like everyone just because they're a woman, and you don't have to relate. But what I'm trying to stop from women is bashing one another, simply because you're so used to being bashed by everyone else, you want to make yourself feel like a bigger woman on someone else. That's the only thing I hate on that thing. Because, for instance, if I say, for instance, Mbali's opening up a platform, and I'm bashing it with the sole purpose I want to feel bigger than her, that's where I draw the line. That's where I tell you, you're as bad as everyone else that hates women. You know what I mean? But I don't need everyone to like me, and I can't expect every woman to like me. They don't necessarily relate to me. We're different people. We come from different backgrounds. We can relate to the fact that we're all women, but I don't think we need to like each other. You can walk into the room and not like me, and I'm fine with that. I am fine with that, but I do have a problem if you deliberately fetch me because I'm just another woman in the room.
Yeah. And I think it's so interesting, even the terminology. I'm just thinking about it now. We have bro code, and what is bro code? Bro is a brother. There is a code amongst brothers. And then you have girl code, a code amongst girls. When you think, what is a girl? A girl is someone who's still becoming a woman. A girl can be a 5-year-old, a girl can be a 12-year-old. But now when you think of the levels that we should be operating in, I shouldn't be thinking like a child when I'm a woman. I shouldn't be behaving like a child. I should be putting childish things aside. But the bro code, the brother's code, brother speaks to family, brother speaks to unity. You can have someone in your family that you don't like. But the fact that you are my brother, I will support you. Maybe I will speak about your business. The person you are, I don't agree with. But your business, I'll support you because you're my brother. But unlike us, you have girl code. What do girls do? Girls bicker, girls fight, girls throw stones and rocks at each other, girls steal each other's ribbons. There's no respect even put on what we should be grouping ourselves as. Why is there no sister code or women code or female, whatever it is? Why is it a bro code versus a girl code? Like the terminology also
okay.
Sister code.
How about we turn it into a sister code instead of girl code? Like Tinasua, like his sister code, because you have a point where Diva girl code. Girl code can be just a 5-year-old, don't on your own. And can't we just start up something Janyana that will have some sense of unity and hominess and can say he's a sister code?
And the reframing of the mindsets, because I think the conversation that you are referring to, Zilu, of a much broader issue with women, where we just want to break each other down. For what? Because you've been broken down. Okay, let us take ownership of this. Let us reframe what we should be. Yes, you may not like me, but it doesn't mean that you should be. Because when we break each other down, how's that different from men breaking us down? How's that different from men abusing us? We are doing it to each other. So let us then rename this thing, reframe this thing, where the mind it has to be a mind shift. It can't be a circle of. It has to be a mind shift thing. Because how many people have been preaching about this? You have so many organizations called End Girl Hate, Sisters for Sisters, Women Love Women, a whole lot of organizations. So you can always brand something, anything that you want. But it has to start with the mind, because the mind is such a powerful tool. So when you change someone's mind about something, it has to, you start there and then lead to behavior change. And that's like a whole lot of psychological grooming, because systemically, even from a young girl, she's jealous of you. Maybe Umbali was unhappy that I took her pencil. But already in my mind, I'm taught that Umbali is jealous. Usman is jealous. So all of our disagreements are belittled to a point of, really, you're jealous of me? No. Maybe there's a much broader issue. So we have to reframe the conversation completely and change that mindset.
I think it starts with removing the surface level arguments of jealousy and you know what I mean. Like, let's actually tackle. They overanalyze the situation. The fact that you've gone so far from analyzing, instead of you realizing that I just don't like the fact that you took my bag without asking. Maybe that's the issue. I don't know. That's the surface level one, because you're fetching a whole jealousy concept that you've created in your room. Now you're fetching quotes trying to relate to your own situation that you've created in your own head, and now you want me to relate to it and try to make it my issue. Maybe I just don't like the fact that you took that thing. It's always the case. Now you will find you will find anything on Instagram as long as you search
anything.
And I just don't get it.
Anything.
I genuinely don't get it. Maybe just let's argue about what we're arguing and not try to make it look deeper than it actually is. It's not that deep. That should be the motto. It's not that deep. Just get over it.
What is the topic? Like, what is the problem? Let's sort it out. Because Amanda will say, wow, like I do not appreciate that your car's revs more than my car, and now my girl thinks my car's not good, versus that man's jealous of me. That man doesn't like my jeans. No.
Talk about it.
It's not that deep.
Just talk about it. It's not that deep. It's just, I don't know. I always get this. I get this a lot with friends. Like, instead of talking about things that I think are so simple, people want to go out of their way to go sub and involve everyone else. Talk to me. And that's what I would appreciate. I would appreciate you saying, listen, I don't like your attitude. I don't like the way you've been treating me. Now we can talk about your emotions. And I'm cool with that, because that's what we are. And we're sisters, and let's just try to sort it out. But the fact that you don't respect me enough to have that conversation, that's where the problem starts. You don't respect me. So you're going to go find every other way to ruin my name. That's when I think you're a hater, and that's when I think we're breaking girl code or sisterhood, whatever, sister code. And we should start focusing on being able, like, you know how guys always say that I would never sub, I talk to you as a man. Talk to me as a woman. Not when it's
Exactly.
a man.
Because subbing is a source of breaking girl code. Because as a girl and as a human being, in fact, if you have a problem with me, mangayiboni ngezitatus zakho, mangayiboni ngezscreenshots, mandibone as wena uthetha nam and thina sincokole. Because as girls, we really abantwana bazazidaters. What those the address then we send status. Oh, I see those status then we address it. Because once we send status, we can address it. And so I say, yeah, and must have been a conversation. And
then you get a fake ally, you know, which is like the last level of like vindictive friendship habits, right? You're like an ally that I know does not like you, so that we can talk about this particular issue around you, whereas it was really just not that
It's
deep.
not that deep.
And that happens a lot. It happens a lot. So when I know that, okay, no, Umbali stepped on my toes, I'm going to go to Mbali's arch enemy, and then we're going to now bond and have lunch. Why? Because I wanted on the status that I was having lunch with your enemy. Like, no, wow.
What are you going to achieve? You
petty man. How did it get? What you gonna achieve? So petty. Yeah, I think that's the word. Just petty about. Petty. At that stage, the quotes, the Bible verses that have been misconstrued because now we're not. Because you now must, because Judas. Wow, guys.
They will turn the Bible into a subbing machine, dude. I don't know.
Hey, tell me about it. Ungenapi Judas. Ungenapi Judas. The friendship. Ungenapi address. Something Judas itimbali. We are betrayer. Okay, whatever the case may be. I land all First Peter John verse 3.
No, we really push the boundaries. We really reach, eh? Women reach. Women go the extra mile to find a way to pull down someone else. And I feel like it's because we've been taught to hate ourselves and each other so much that we're getting to a point that we're just giving out hate instead of love. You know what I mean? Because sometimes I get shocked. Like I was in an organization called Embrace a Sister. And for Embrace a Sister, sisters weren't embraced. I was like, what is going on? Like, I'm here to be embraced. I'm not being embraced. And it just hurts a lot because you feel like we can put it out to the forefront. Like, hey guys, we embrace each other over here and this is a safe space. But sometimes you feel like you're constantly being fetched and you're constantly being attacked. And you feel like these are things that a sisterhood wouldn't do. And as much as I understood one thing about the organization is that we were pushing the organizational work, yes, but I felt like it should have started at home, like with the executive and everyone. You know what I mean? Show me love so that love can be something I'm able to give to someone else, that I could never have to judge another woman just because she's a woman. But it did teach me a lot. It did teach me that I need to start supporting more Black women. I need to start supporting women in general. You know what I mean? I realized, and this was in first year, I realized that I'm not really as pro-woman as I claim to be. I wasn't buying the items that they're advertising. I might like it, but I'm not going out of my way to, vote for them. I act like I'm voting or I act like I'm supporting, and I'm not really doing this stuff. And you say congratulations, but you're not doing anything. And you know what I mean? You're just saying it so people don't perceive you in a certain way. And I realized that that's where the problem was. The fact that sometimes we really say we're rooting for each other, but you're hating the fact that someone is doing better than you. You think
that's another thing.
Like that whole Chinamanda Ngozi quote where like we're taught to compete with one another. And I can't even imagine a world. This is why I always say my wildest dream is a woman friendly environment. I can't imagine a world where we stop competing with one another and we start maybe competing with the opposite sex, like they with one another. You know what I mean? We stop ourselves as great and equal. If you see another woman being a CEO, it's not a big deal because you're happy she's here. She's competent. She deserves it. But the fact that you look at it and say, no, I need to be the one, the first CEO, or she doesn't deserve it. I'm better than her. Or she's sleeping away. Stuff I hate. That's favors. It has to. Somehow she doesn't deserve it in your eyes because you've been told so many times you don't deserve it that you're going to try to convince everyone else that they don't deserve everything they're doing, and that's just unfair. Girl code is believing that the fact that she is on that platform, she deserves to be there. It doesn't matter how you do it. It's not your business.
I want to talk about, and I think we should be closing now.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about be a safe space. Great. Be a safe space for other women. Right? Be a safe space where people can, where other women can posit, right? And that and resources. And that if someone is calling me out on anything, I need to be a safe space for them to talk about. Annalila, you made me upset when you said this, or I felt when you said this, when you did this, this is how I felt. And Annalila must not then defend her actions, but recognize and empathize with the person, right? To be like, I acknowledge your pain, I acknowledge, and it's valid that this was not my intention, and how can we move forward? You know, now that I know that Bali is sensitive to certain things, or my language, or whatever it may have been that she has called me out on, and how do we move forward? I think we need to always come back to how do we move forward, because sometimes a venting session is needed, and you can vent, but relationships are hard work. It's just like friendships, just like girl codes, business things, everything. We need to find what are the compromises, what are the trade-offs, what am I completely willing to forego for this friendship?
Yeah.
If I must forego my bad language, then it must be now. I must not do that again, because maybe it triggers something in someone else. And it can't happen if you are a hostile space, if you are a violent space for other Black women in business, Black women in sisterhoods, in church, in any institution, you know. And I think that's ultimately what we're trying to build here, right? None of us here are perfect. None of our friendships are perfect. But I think a good starting point is all the things that we have discussed, and just trying to be a safe space for other women, for other Black women, for anything, for ideas. It has. We have to forego something. We have to adopt. We have to adopt new strategies. We have to learn new things, because none of us here are Alpha or Omega, right? We are not the Lion of Judah who's all knowing. We are not. We must be willing to adjust and just be agile, man. Like mobile, like, you know, we're not the founder of information fountain, all knowing. You can't. You know, we can't. That's. Yeah. I think being in a safe space for other Black women is like my.
But then about creating a safe space.
Hello?
Can you hear me? I'm asking, how do we go about creating a safe space for women?
That's a question. I don't know. Just I don't know. I feel like we should just, I don't know. Ladies need to. That's a very.
I think it's all about. It is a good question, but I think it's all about.
It's a good question. It's a big question. Yeah.
It's about you're accepting people for who they are. You know, like, it's back to that whole thing that we were talking about. You don't necessarily have to like people, but you do have to respect people. The same way you respect any other stranger in the street, just respect another woman. Maybe have more respect because she's a woman, you know, you share the same battles as a woman, but you don't have to go out of your way of, you know, just try to be a better person, and being a better person, understanding that you need to give people respect, and you can't fetch other people because you've been taught to hate yourself and you're trying to give that onto them. change the cycle that we've been given by our parents, our grandparents, and stuff like that, where we're taught to compete with other women and envy other women and, fight for the attention of men and stuff like that. Change that whole mentality and start creating an environment where other women you don't view them as competition unless she actually is your competition. That's fine. If she is your competition, you're competing for the same job. That's really cool. Compete. But I'm not saying stop this thing of trying to fight for attention on very unnecessary things. Like, stop welcoming each other, inviting each other into spaces that are suitable for one another. You see, if Anelile wins the award, it's a win for all of us on this platform, because now she gets to, she gets to say that she's the one that won the award, and she's also on M_. That's a win for us, and
a win for women in general, because not a lot of Black authors are being celebrated.
And the same way that if you and you Miss 11, that's how I memorize it, because I was voting. So, once you do that, it's a win for all of us, guys. Even if it's a platform that is dominated by women, even if it's a platform that's dominated by men, the fact that we're Black women of color, out there fighting for survival. Let's respect one another and invite each other and put each other on. If you see an opportunity that's suitable for me, or I see an opportunity suitable for you, I'll put you on. That's creating the safe space. Know that you can count on me, not necessarily with my resources and whatever, but the fact that even if you're going through something, I'm the safe space where you can vent. You know what I mean?
Oh, thank you so much for joining us. We've said a lot. It's been a very rich session. We have given you all of our thoughts, but we'd love to hear from you. What are your experiences? Do you agree with what we've said? Do you have any ideas on how in your specific spaces and how as a nation of women, how can we start creating these safe spaces for conversations, for ideas, and how can we start really restructuring and reframing how we see each other and how we interact as women? Please stay tuned for our next episode.